people. Good evening. Once again, you're welcome to class. Let me know if you can hear me. I'm happy to have you guys around again today. As tradition has it, go to Twitter, go to LinkedIn, go to your WhatsApp, get people to join the class so we can get started. Class begins in 4 minutes. So once again, I'm going to iterate. The main purpose of this class is to help you guys understand how to make quick decisions with designs and create wonderful experiences in the shortest time possible. Basically, by getting familiar with some design fundamentals which you should be aware of. As I would say, nothing is set on stones. Nothing I share here is a rule. It's basically my process, my go-to process, or my go-to way of creating designs. All right. Today's going to be the last day, and I'm going to be designing a landing page and probably a dashboard as well, because I realized, or maybe I'm just going to design a dashboard because we've been able to create a couple of landing pages, several mobile applications. So I'm going to pay attention to dashboards today. How do I create my dashboards? What is my go-to process? Moyelua is asking how I present my work. So good for you. I created a Figma tool. It's called Presently. I've seen that in the past. So Presently is one of Figma's most downloaded plugins or files in Figma community. It has several versions for mobile application, desktop applications. So if you want to present your app, the templates are already there. All you just need to do is copy your designs as PNG, paste it on the Presently mockup, and you're good to go. So yeah, look it up. And yeah, so if you check my YouTube channel, you should find a video on how to use Presently, just in case you need help there. Right, I think it's time. It's time. So, ladies and gentlemen, you're welcome once again to this class, Design Fundamentals, UI UX Design Fundamentals, where basically what I'll be talking about, or what I've been talking about, is how to make easy design decisions for your designs. When it comes to colors, typography, spacing, how can you make quick design decisions without having to waste your time to create good looking designs. And I hope since we've been having this class since on Monday, you have learned a whole lot. Today's day 5. I am very, very eager to see what you guys have been creating. I would love to get tagged. If you've created any design at any point, I would love to get tagged. Shout out to everyone that has had the privilege to join this class from the very first day. One of the very names I've been seeing, I've seen the name several times. I've seen Kemi's name several times. I've seen Babatunde. I've seen Bolo Atife. I've seen Kemi. You guys have been, I've seen Moyolua. You guys have been joining this class from the very first day. I've seen Ayogu. And yeah, I'm happy that you guys are back again here today. It's really great to have you guys. Thanks for your consistency. Today I would be basically focusing on dashboards. I know you guys have attempted to create a few dashboards in the past, and today I'll be teaching you the simplest ways to create dashboards. Now, note this: none of the things I will be sharing is a rule, none of it is a law, but this is how I design my dashboards. If you've seen my dashboard designs before and you really like it, you probably asking questions: where did I get this? How did I do this? How did I make and how did I get to make one or two design decisions? I'll be sharing all that with you today. I hope you're excited because by the end of this class, you should be a pretty decent designer. So, Mohammed is saying he can't hear me. I'm pretty sure every other person can hear me. So maybe you want to check your speaker or something, so you can you know get to hear me. Um, yeah. So before we get started, quick one. I'll be holding a design class for augmented and virtual reality by October. It's October is like in a month's time, so there's a lot of time for you to prepare. The class is starting 5th of October, if I'm correct. And basically, what I'll be sharing is my design process for designing for augmented reality. I've had the privilege to work with metaverses in the past. I've designed a couple of metaverses. Last month, August, I had the privilege to work. My team had the privilege to work with Formula One, where we designed a mini metaverse for them. I'll be talking about my design process, how I go through research, and how I design storyboards for metaverses. So it's something you want to be a part of. If you're interested in AR, VR, metaverses, you would really learn a lot by subscribing for that class. So yeah, without further ado, let's get started. As usual, I'm going to be opening up my Figma board. So yeah, I've made a decision. I'll be sharing my Figma board, the Figma board I use for this class. I'll be sharing it by the end of this class, which is of course today. I would put some things together so it can be ready tomorrow. So watch out for my tweet tomorrow. I should be sharing this Figma board. Hopefully you would have a few things to pick from it. All right. So yeah, Figma is ready. Let me share my screen now. All right. All right. Okay, so just gonna zoom in so you can see what I'll be doing. Muilua, that's a health tech and education may be for me may be my major focus, but of course you can use AR VR for every single thing, marketing, brand promotion, and stuff like that. So just so you know. All right, yeah. So let's get started. I'm going to choose my frame. Basically, I use the desktop frame that is 1440 by 4. And at this point, I'll be the next thing I want to do is create a grid system for the dashboard. And I love to use 12 columns for my dashboard, and I'll set my gutter to 40 pixels. Now, you should be able to pick up the difference between this and the website you've done in the past, where I basically just use 20 for the gutter. Now, the reason why I'm using 40 now is because, again, it's a dashboard. There will be a lot of information flying around. You want to make sure there's enough room, there's enough space for that distribution. So once that is done, I would not be setting any margins for now. Basically, just going to be having this. We'll do that later. So once this is done, I close this. I'm going to duplicate this screen because I will be doing something else later. And right now, next up for me is to choose if I want to use a side navigation. If I want to use a side navigation bar, this is where I get to choose. So now that I have 12 grids on this board, I want to use two of that grid system. I want to use two for my side navigation. So I'm going to create a frame here, snap that to the top left, make this align here, and then drag that down. Now, once that is done, I want to give that side nav a color. Now, fill. Since we've created this color system in the past, I'm just going to use one of that. Purple. All right, so yeah, there we go. And I'm going to leave that the way it is. So once this is done, I'm going to close. I'm going to go back to my grid system and basically just hide it for now. Olufisayo, take a quick look. Take a quick look. If you miss anything, know that you can always watch the video again. So basically, this is all I use: 12 counts, no margins, 40 pixel gutters. Simple. Now, yeah, you must have seen several tutorials on grid system. Now, as I said, the purpose of this class is to help you make quick design decisions. I don't do any math when it comes to choosing my grid system. I know I've seen a lot of videos where things get a bit complicated, but for me, I love to keep it simple. Yeah. So once that is done, I'm going to hide this guy, and there we go. I have a navigation bar already. So the next thing I want to do is map out another grid system for this work area. So I'm going to take my frame again, and I'm going to pick it from this point. So watch my mouse. I'm going to pick it from this point where the white space begins, just right there. And I'm going to draw this to the very end. Now, once I've done that, I have my work area mapped out. So yeah. So the next thing I want to do is then create another grid for this particular area. So I go to the layout grid, I click on plus, click on the grid, go to column, set the column again to 12. And this time I'm going to add margins. I'm going to add margin of 40 pixels. I'm going to keep my gutters also to 40. And there we go. Now I have this guy. So basically this is what I'll be working with. So let's have a quick conversation. I don't know what we're designing for yet, but I think it's time to make that decision. So basically what I want to do now is I want to create a dashboard, a financial service, right? A system where you can save money, send money, receive money, right? So yeah, I think that would be a good case study. So now that I have this area, next thing I want to do is, yeah, I probably want to just plan out what I need to do here. So first things first, I have this area set up. I'm going to draw for my, I'm going to draw my header, draw the space for my header, and it's going to be full width, left to right. It's going to be full width. I'm going to take that out, fill it white, and let's see if I can copy this guy. Yeah, so just so you know, you can create styles for your grid system as well. So I'm just going to quickly use that here. And there we have it. So here I'm just going to write the name of the application we are working on. Let's see. What niche should we name this? Selfie. The name is completely random. All right. 24 pixel for the header. Color to bold. Center this guy. And then on the other side, I'm going to have like a small navigation system where I have my user icon. I'm going to set to 40 pixels. And then I'm going to write my name. I'm just realizing it's been so long. I designed a dashboard. My I need to get back into this UI UX game. All right, so I have that there. Select those two, turn it to auto layout. Make sure this is well centered. Um, yeah, then maybe a drop down, not maybe, definitely a drop down, so we can have some other navigation system here, like your profile settings, logout button, things like that. Um, yeah, I'm gonna snap that there and reduce this to 12. Yeah, just like that. And I think for now, this is good. Just gonna leave this like this. Change this to purple and or purple and black. Yeah, looks better. So probably make this a component. Then I bring it back into. Then I can hide. I can hide this for now. System for this for now. Um. Oh, come on. This keeps happening on Figma. I have no idea why. All right. So once that is done, I can go to the rest of the UI. So now, what are those things you find in your typical fintech dashboard? The your account statement, your call to actions, transaction table, some data to how much you sent, how much you received, things like that. So first things first, before you go down into designing your dashboard, you basically want to lay out all those things. What are those things you want to see? What are those data you want to show? So I'm going to create a small card here and I'm going to highlight all that we need. Now, if you're following, I would need your help to give me what some of those information may be, because right now I really do not remember much when it comes to dashboards and fintech. So I know you need your account balance, um, account balance, CTAs, which include send, receive. Well, let's have also CTAs now. Card details will be somewhere later in the in the application. Not, I don't think you need that on the landing page or on the home screen. Yeah, transactions. Yeah, thank you. Beneficiaries for quick send. Beneficiaries. A bit of data, right? What form of data would we have? All transactions, successful transactions. Yeah, that too is enough. Um, yeah. I think just that two for now is good enough. We can have all answers. Okay, yeah. I think pending would be a good one as well. Yeah, pending. Yeah, true. We don't need to see field. Field can be somewhere else in the design. Logout button for the navigation. Yeah. Settings, not on this screen though, but definitely we'll need that here. So it means we're not done. Now, you keep sending in those things. Now let's design our sidebar. So I'm going to take this side navigation. Where do I put this? Yeah, just going to take it here, bring it here. And then also we're going to, first thing is create a grid for this as well. We're going to create a grid for this so we can map out the areas which we want to work. We want to have stuff. So I go to, now in this case, it's just going to be one. I don't need two. Basically, I just need one count. And I can set my margin to 40 pixel, just like I have here. I want to keep that uniform. Set that to 40, and then I'm going to create one more. Where is it? Yeah, I'm going to create one more grid, and that's going to be for the rows. That way, I can map out the top area, just one again. Currently, this is 73 pixel. That's off. I need to set this to 74. I like my numbers even. Odd numbers are weird. All right, so go back to this, set the margin to 74, and we have that space over there. And yeah, I think this is good enough. So we know where we're working with. Okay, okay. All right, all right. I noticed something now. Yeah, so this way we're going to have our navigation system. So I'm just going to randomly pick icons. And a good question or a good argument would be, should you use field icons or line icons? And I think basically it depends on what the background looks like. If it's a dark background, just like the one I have here, using a field icon would be best because it would be obvious enough. Set that to 12, make sure it says normal and white. FFF. There you have it. Then I'm going to set this to auto layout as usual. One thing I also want to do is create spacing at the top and bottom. So I'm going to use 20 pixels there, and that's just it. Oh no, 20 is too much. 12 pixels. 12 pixels is just good enough. And pull that down, 20 pixels. Duplicate this. Select all, use auto layouts. So we have home, transactions, send money. What else? Settings, um, data, whatever this is, and logout. Right. Now, note this: you don't have to, you don't necessarily have to spread digital navigation to the base, except if you have a lot of information to cover. But for the sake of the basics here, I'm just going to leave it at this. Set it to 16. And what else? Probably change your icons because this look weird right now. Settings. Let's see if I can get some icons quickly. This looks good. Cut that. Replace. Set it to white. Transaction. So we have like notes. Take that. Cut it. Replace. Set it to white. Send money. So get send. Yeah, this looks good. Replace that. Set it to white as well. Data or reports. No, this should be reports, not data. Report. We're just going to remove this for now. I think we can do without it. Then log out. Of course, Ademola, you can do that. Of course, why not? Replace that, set it to white. And there we go. So once that is done, I can hide all this and set this to make it a component, then drag this here. And there we have it. Now I did spot a bit of something we could do better. I think we can have the name of our application somewhere here and set this to white. Yeah, so we just have it that way. All right. So one other thing you can do is add like an indicator, something to indicate which of these states is active. So I'm going to create a rectangle there, send it to the back, and move that up, send it to the back, stretch this guy, resize it to something like this so it fits your home. Set that to white and reduce your opacity to 10. Is that obvious enough? No, if it's not, you spec it up. It's obvious enough. And I think that's just good enough. Yeah, some other things you could do is duplicate this and do something like this, raise it up to 100, and there you go. Something simple and creative. And if you want to get even crazier, you can reduce this by, let's say 20 or 16. 16 is just enough. And add some border radius to that. So 8, 8, and there. Simple. Basically, just simple. And also, you can do that same here. In case you don't want to use that style, you can just do the same thing here. 16. 1 pixel, 1 pixel. Yeah. Please ignore that. You already know the idea. 16. So what's 16? And then you have 8 as well there. So there. Easy peasy. Right? I hope that works with you guys. And yeah, our home is currently highlighted. Some other things you could do to make sure home is obviously the focus is select the other guys and reduce the opacity, or choose, just going to select the purple, increase the light value to 80, something the users will be able to see. That is very important. So I'm just going to push it to 90, and there we have it. So obviously home is bright enough, and you have your side navigation. Now, that's like the simplest way to create side navigation. This is like a template for you. In case you want to do anything else, since you're already on auto layout, all you just need to do is add more, add more, add more, add more, and then change the name of change the name of the menu, change your icon, and basically that's it. So yeah, I think I have all my navigations have been created. And I think one thing I can do here to make this look better is probably adding like a breadcrumb. So this is just going to be home. You need to reduce it to 12 pixel because it's a breadcrumb. Use this also to 999, nothing too intense. Make it medium size and increase the letter spacing by 5%. And basically that's just it. I'm sure you guys know what a breadcrumb is, right? Can we use underline to make, no, don't use it. Don't use it. That is very, very old fashioned. There are several ways you can, there are a lot of ways you can make this look good. Underline is the least of it, right? I'm going to use underline. All right, so let's continue, guys. So I'm going to go back to this list. What are we? So yeah, I think we can get started. So the different ways to go about this, I can delete this guy, and side by side, I'm going to create two ways. You can, create a dashboard. So I'm going to use it white. I am currently not liking the fact that this system is covering my face, but I'm going to ignore that for now. So the first step is by using a full width system where basically everything is stretching from left to right. That's like the common one. So I'm going to do this, break this into two, break this into two. So yeah, now we have two cards. If you were here yesterday, you probably know how I design my cards now. Give it a border radius, fill that with purple. Also, I do not like to use solid colors like this, so I'm going to use a pastel color. If you had the time to take a look at my videos on colors yesterday or today, you definitely would know what I would be doing to have a pastel color. So I'll be sending this to 90, straight up 90, and I will add that to my fintech. Yeah, fintech primary purple. And this is going to be 10. Just going to change this guy to 10. There we go. And this other guy, I'm probably just going to change to, I don't have a secondary color for this app yet. So what do we do? All right, I'll fix that later. First off, I need to get rid of this grid system. Yeah. Okay, so here we go. So Zainab, breadcrumb. I can't explain that right now, but I need you to check material design. I'm going to drop the link now. Material.io/components. Yeah, you want to check that out. You would find one of the components, one of the UI components is a breadcrumb. Basically, it's meant for navigation. And so, yeah, basically for navigation. All right. So, looking at this right now, I think we can get started. So, I'm going to drag this down a bit. I missed something very important. Definitely bring back my grid system and let's welcome the user. So, hello, Uzenwa. So, I'm going to have the there and increase this to 2, increase this to 16, remove this guy. We don't need it anymore. I'm going to reduce this by 3.5. Good. Set this to 8. Reduce the opacity of this or reduce the contrast to 666. Yeah, just that. Then I'm going to take this and set a margin of 40 by tradition, which I'm sure you guys are already used to. I'm going to have my account balance here. So account balance. There. Let's see if 24 is good. Yeah, 24 looks good for now. It looks good for now, so I'm just going to leave it there. And let's see if we can get a couple of call to actions on this page. So I'm going to create a button, fill that button up with my primary color. Send money or fund wallet. Auto layout this, set this to 40 and this to 20. All right, now definitely this has to be 16, 32. Yeah. Give this border radius of 12. At the moment, this looks weird, so I probably want to reduce this to 8. Yeah, that looks better. And then that is it. So now that I have this, I have a second button. I have to reduce this button at some point because what if I have this? So what to do? Send money. Reduce these to 32. Reduce this to 32. Set add auto layout to this. Set it to 12, and push this to 4. Now this is still not good enough because we need proper spacing within here. So what do we do? What do we do in this situation? All right. A good thing to do is I'm going to take this guy out and I'm going to set this to full width, stretch this to the very end. Now, mind you, this is going to definitely affect my design decision somewhere later here. So I'm going to send this to the very edge, 24 there. I have this, make sure these two are aligned. And yeah, I think that's it. So when I'm done with that, I can use auto layout and there. So 40, yeah, good. Oh, Muyulua, of course. Why would I? Okay. All right. So I think we've been able to establish that. What else can we have here? So I think I want to make this card look better. It looks very empty right now. So just like we did yesterday, I'm going to add some things that look like illustration into this space, make it look better. And I think because we have so much space, we can do more with our spacing. So I'm going to remove auto layout for now. No, not yet. I'm going to add, on the side, I'm going to use 32 and for the top 32 as well. Then make sure this is, so now I'll remove auto layout, set these buttons to constraint to the right, and I can reduce this to fit my margin. And there you go. So I'm going to create a few balls, select the frame, clip content, so that way the balls don't extrude, have one there, reduce the size of these, have one here, and randomly position these guys in different sizes so they look good enough. Take this, send it to the very edge. This keyboard is killing me. All right. This a bit, something like now. Select all the balls. I'm gonna pick this color, then go to my fill and adjust this to 85, and there we go. All right, so this is one way to make this thing look good. Another way to make it look good is by using, not going to waste time here. So basically it's the same thing. So instead of using filled circles, you could just use stroke circles. And of course, once again, choose that color and position this as you like. You can always increase the light value if you choose to. Select this, send it to the back, and increase that, reduce that light value to 75, so it's a bit more obvious. 75 is way too much, so I'm going to send that to 80. And yeah, that's good. So many ways you can make your card look good. So now that we have this, making sure we have 40 there, very important. We've been able to add account balance. So I think account balance is check. Yeah, account balance is check. Our CTA, send and receive, is check. Next up, I want to add beneficiaries. So tradition for me is write that topic header. Make sure this is aligned. And always, because I'm using 40 pixel for now, I'm going to keep this at 40 as well. My beneficiaries should be medium sized because it's an header. I don't want it to be bold. Bold looks ridiculous. I'm just going to keep it at medium. Set the font size to 16 is good, but because it's web, you want to make sure it's bold enough. So I'm going to send that to 20. 20 is just good enough. Now, I know many of you love to do this. You pick this guy, you send it over here, and you write view all. Well, I know it's tradition for many of you, but trust me, experience-wise, it's not the best. So what I do is I'm going to take this guy here, right beside my beneficiaries, give that auto layout, make sure that is about 40 pixel differences, choose this guy, and give it your primary color. And that way it is view all. It works. Most important thing. Does it work? Yes, it does work. Now, if you want to create enough separation, you can just add a line. You can just add a line there to separate both. Adding this line, 40 on the left and right is already way too much. So I'm going to reduce that to 20. Go back to my auto layout, reduce 20. So that way I still have 40 in between. Now this is black. It looks very weird. Reduce this guy to something like this. And there you go. It looks good enough. For me, it looks way, 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 way too good. And I'm just going to keep it that way. So now that you have your beneficiaries, you want to create a list of beneficiaries. So I'm going to add a frame. Make sure my frame is aligned. This is going to be 24 since we are still under the same category. Now, how am I choosing my spacing? Seems like I'm just using random numbers. No, I'm not using random numbers. I talked about how I choose my spacing in, I think, the first class or the second class. So if you want to get a glimpse of how I have been choosing this spacing, you want to take a look at the video, you will have a perfect understanding of how I'm choosing my spacing. So at the moment, it feels like I'm just randomly choosing. Later in the design, I will stick to whatever spacing, whatever space settings I have right now. I'm going to stick to it later in the design. But for now, it feels like random. So to get a good idea of how I'm choosing the space, take a look at that video. So now that I have this is going to be where I'm going to add the list of beneficiaries. I don't have any design in mind yet, but I know one thing to do is to set auto layout. Now, is it? No. The first thing to do is by adding a layout grid. So I'm going to choose columns. Now, instead of adding a count, I won't be using a count this time. I will be using auto. So that way, if the UI elements are going to stretch, I would have enough room for that to happen. So now I'm going to start the count from the left, and I'm going to set my width to 200 pixels. Let's see what that looks like. Is it good enough? Now I'm going to set it to 240 pixels, and that is good enough. Now that way, each of my beneficiary cards is going to take 240 pixels. And looking at this, I'm going to have 1, 2, 3, 4 four visible beneficiaries, and one last beneficiary that is, moving away, moving out of the space we've provided for it. So I'm going to start my design. Do that, not rectangle, frame. I'm going to use a frame. Adjust that frame like this. Stretch this frame to be like this. And yeah, so for my beneficiary, I'm going to add my avatar. I'm going to add the avatar there. The name of my beneficiary, Elon Musk. Yeah, I send a lot of money to the guy every month. And then his bank name, Citibank. And probably his account, 4 digits of his account number. So I'm going to do this at *****00001. And there we go. Looks good, right? Not yet. So next thing is to definitely adjust our font sizes. So from 20 pixels, I'm going to reduce it to 16. And the bank is good enough, 14 pixels there. Set this to regular. Also the account number, reduce that to 14 pixels, set it to regular. Select the bank and the account number, smart to layout, and space it by 12 pixels. Also, you want to reduce the contrast. You're gonna use 666 for this, and also for this as well. And may not do this, right? Maybe I want to just use 2. Yeah. And yeah, that's it. Once that is done, select both, smash auto layout, make sure this is 8. Make sure this is aligned to the center. And our icon, I'm going to keep our icon at 48. Select both of them, auto layout again, and use 20 pixels for that. So we can, have even distribution here. Now this is currently at 18, so I'm going to make sure this is 20. Now select the entire frame and smash auto layout again. For the top, I'm going to keep 20. And yeah, so stretch this guy. Yeah, I'm going to stretch that guy. And there we have it. So one other thing you want to do is I want to give the boundaries of 12 pixels there. And I want to give a background color to this card. So a good thing to do is, because we already have this bit of purple, I don't want to use purple again. I'm just going to use F1, which is gray. F1 for that. Now, for me, I'm going to remove it. For me, this is go-to. Now, I know a lot of you have questions like, how do you know, how do you know, how do you know? So this is go-to. Now, the reason why it's my go-to method is because it never fails. It never fails. For this design, it is straight off. As we're having this conversation, I'm just putting things into place because this is a go-to. I don't have to prepare for this. It's a go-to design design settings, basically. So now that I have that, I can remove this guy. I don't need it anymore. And basically just duplicate this, select both, set it to auto layout, make sure the spacing there is 20, and then keep duplicating this until the last one. Now, this is stretching out of our UI. The reason is because our frame has not been we did not set on set click content. So I'm going to click content. That way, that happens, and then I'm going to adjust this guy to meet that, and there you have it. So you have a list of beneficiaries. All right, so that is done. Next up is what else? Now that we've done beneficiaries, I'm going to check out beneficiaries. A set of data, which is successful, failed. How do we do that? Okay, we may need to. Okay, I'm not going to change anything on this. I'm just going to fix all that here since we have two screens. We have my time is running. So next up is transaction history. So I'm going to come here, click on transactions. Now I'm still going to keep to this. I'm going to keep to that. I'm not going to change anything from there. Now the same method I created, the same style I use in creating this guy is also I'm going to use for transactions as well. Now, Adobe, as of right now, we don't need a graph for this design. So one thing is very important here, and I know a lot of people make this mistake. You don't need everything in your designs. Your design doesn't have to carry everything. Now, this is one thing I learned from Kubato. I'm a big fan of Kubato. I love their designs. I've always learned you may find now the direction we are going with this design, we do not necessarily have to have the graph. Because truth be told, Adobe, I know you use fintech applications. When exactly have you used the graph? That's a good question. When exactly have you gone onto your fintech app, whatever one you use, and you are accessing a graph? I have never, but I know it's useful. But as of right now, I have never actually used a graph for anything. But we are going to add it to the second design, so you guys see how I create graphs as well. This is 24, so this also has to be 24. Make sure that is aligned. Now I've been making silly mistakes. This is 38. It shouldn't be 38 again. Oh wow, 38. Wow, wow. Oh my. Um, let's fix all that. Actually, 40. No, this is 50. 40, 40, 40. Yeah. Always check. Always remember to check, please. Oh, tobacco. No, Emmanuel is not tobacco. It's Kubato. My bad there. Sorry. All right. So yeah, thank you very much, OCC. Thank you. All right. Transaction table. So what exactly would you need for your transaction table? For you to have a good looking transaction table, what information do you need? So we're going to come back here again and see if we can come up with a list of information for that. So for transactions, I would need, what do I need? So first and foremost, I would need an icon to show status. I'll need an icon to show the status. Oh no, not status, that's not status, that's type. Now, another thing I will need is a status chip. Now this is going to be a chip. I prefer using chips. Next up is your date and time. Well, maybe not next up because you still need to show who you are sending to. That is the sender's name or sender or receiver's name and their bank info as well. So what else? Am I missing anything? Am I missing anything? I do not think so. Okay, so I can go in two directions here. If I'm designing for a B2B platform where every kind of information is very important, meaning every kind of information is very important, this may go longer than this. Also, I would need an actual header to show the list of what each of those items should be. But when I'm designing for a B2C, where most of the time the user really doesn't care, just want to see make sure their money is safe, I would maybe head in another direction. Now, because of where we've gone with this design, I would want to keep going in that direction. So what I'm going to now is also with this guy, I'm going to add layout because it's going to be useful. And I'm going to break this layout into, so basically the icon and the sender's information can stick together, or the sender's name will stick together. So that's one. Their bank info is two. The status chip is three. The date and time is four. So I'm going to use a 5 column grid system, and this is just perfect. Now, the truth is, everything would not be the same size. And yeah, everything will be the same size. But I'm pretty just going to be sticking with this. So instead of 5, I'm just going to change this to 12. And I'm going to explain why later. Now, I'm going to hide that. Now, next thing up is hide a frame. And watch this closely, please. I'm going to stretch this frame from left to right. Now, because I know everything will be, all the elements I'll be having in this table would not size. Some things will be very long, while some will be very short. Like your time is short, your date is short. Status is definitely going to be very short. So what I do is this. I'm going to take, all right, so do I want to do this? Okay, so I think I need to add margin. I'm going to add a margin of 20 pixels. The reason is because this table is going to have a background of its own, or at least a margin, a border. I'm going to have a border. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick these first 3 columns. I'm going to pick all that first 3 columns, and I'm going to use it for. I'm going to use these 3 columns for the user information. So to help myself, I'm just going to copy all of this and paste it right here. Make sure this is properly aligned right there, and I'm going to remove. Okay, I'm going to make adjustment to this. So it's going to be a sending. I'm sending money. So I'm going to remove this, and this, because I'm sending money away from my account, this is going to be red because I'm performing a deduction. So I'm just going to choose that red since this is currently at 90, so that's good enough for me. Okay, so Elon Musk's name is very short. We have some very long names in the house. My guy, not true. They just bring lights. Sorry for that. Okay, so in a case where the name is going to be long, I'm going to duplicate this guy and use very long names. If you know your name is long, like you can boast that your name is the longest in this chat, I need your full name, please. You're not on the chat. All right. Mubarak Akoni, your name is short though, actually. Oh my God. Yes, this is a long name. Wow. Nigerians. Long names everywhere. This is long. Now I don't even know which one to choose again, sir. These names are long. Thank you very much. Thank you. My names are long. All right. Can you imagine? See, this is what I'm talking about here. I made sure I selected enough columns, but this person's name is still too long. So in a situation like this, we're going to have that because your name is just too long. So you are a proud winner. Thank you very much. So yeah, we have that. So we are going to have situations like this. Using Elon Musk's name here feels like they're wasting space, but this person is a no. Come on, that can't be a real name. I would never agree that that's a real name. All right, so we have this, and I'm going to use this instead of Elon Musk's name. So yeah, thank you very much, Olaoluwa Ninshola. Thank you very much. So I'm going to replace this. Make sure this is centered, and there we go. This name is long. Okay, so now that we have that, we've been able to check. We've checked the icon and we've checked the type. So I'm going to mark that as check. At the moment, we've checked the name, but now we need to enter the bank information. So please pay attention now. Next up is, now what I need to do again is pick another frame and take 2 of this. And I believe this thing, what I'm doing now is very vital, and I hope you guys are paying close attention. So rather than using 5 that has each of the spaces equally spaced out, I used 12 so that I can pick a good number of columns for what I want to use it for. All right. So I'm going to copy the entire of this and I'm going to paste it here as well. But this time it's going to be for banks. So a long bank name is Providus Bank. Every other thing is in short form. Stanbic IBTC. Let's see. So a good question or a good reason why I'm doing this is this. Whenever you are designing, create room for the worst case scenario. If I use something like GTB looks ridiculously short. But what if Providus Bank or Stanbic IBT is the name, and then there's just not enough space because you did not factor that into your design. So use the worst case scenario to create your designs and make provision for all that in the future. So I'm going to write the account number here 1234 1234. Yeah, and that's the account number. So we have that. Next up is, so now I can check this. No. I can check the icon type. I can check sender's name. Next up is the status. And for that, we only need just one. We only need just one of these grids. And because I love to use chips here, I'll be designing a chip for that purpose. For those of you who don't know what a chip is, once again, visit materialdesign.io/components. There are a ton of UI components which you probably never heard of there. So that way you can familiarize yourself with each one of them. So this is the status, pending. I'm going to use pending here. And mind you, it has to be, since it's a chip, you are fit to use 12. And if you'll be using 12, make sure it's all caps. Make sure it is medium. And there. That is one reason. That is the only time you can actually use 12 pixel in your design if you're designing a chip. And yeah, I'm totally out into there. Make sure all this is 4. 4 at the top, 4 at the side. And yeah, we're good. Good for us. We still have this much space. So what I'm going to do again is prove that that space is enough so we have pending, completed, and what? Yeah, pending, completed field. So next up is completed. Let's see if that space is enough. Perfect. Is it enough? No, it's not. But as of right now, we can't use 2 for this because 2 will be way too much. So in a situation like that, you're going to leave it as 1. You're going to leave it as 1. I'm going to use this instead. Position it somewhere there and just leave it that way. I'm going to leave it that way. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to leave it that way. This is going to be green. Since it's completed, it's going to be green. Dark green. And then for the container, we're going to be using the same type of green, but send the light value to 90. Set the border radius as 2, and that is your chip. Now that we have that, next up is your date and time. Date and time, yeah. So I'm just going to copy this again. Send it here. Where should it be? Here, right. Send it here. Standard Chartered Bank. Come on, Osisi. Standard Chartered. Yeah, you are right. Let me see. I'm still sure the space we gathered for that to be enough. Unfortunately, it isn't. So I'm just going to remove bank. Thank you very much, Osisi. You are pushing us to our limit. I like that. Thank you very much. So for the date and time, the information is which of those 2 information is most important. I think date is of higher value. So August, 23rd of August. You want to put the date, the year? No, you don't want to put the year. And then your time can be 10:59 p.m. Now, the only situation where you want to put the year is when you go to your transaction history page itself and you want to see older transaction. Now, in that situation, you'll be having like a sort where you can, go to the extreme. But for the sake of so as of right now, we've been able to check all the boxes and then we still have this amount of space. So it means we are still going to adjust this and that design. Now, the last thing you want to add, I'm going to make use of the last space for this, is adding actions. I'm pretty sure you all know what actions are. So actions are basically um, icons or a set of buttons that the user can use to perform extra can use to perform actions like download, edit, review, resend. So I'm just going to use ellipsis for that purpose. And I think this is good enough. And because I don't just want it to be bland, um, I'm going to wrap this guy. I'm going to wrap it into this square. Set that to F1 and give it a border radius of 4 pixels. And there you go. Now I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 elements that I still need to distribute across this page. Without argument, the ellipsis is going to the last column. Let's have that there. Why are you proving stubborn? Make sure this is centered. The next up is our date and time. I can have that here, right there. We still have this much space. So I'm going to move completed to here. So let me just stretch this. I'm going to stretch this and I'm going to center it right there. And because we have a very long name in the building, I'm going to do this. Yes. And I'm going to allow this to stretch even further there. So we use 4 columns for the names. So let me see if I can get that name again. Adibiba. Okay. Yeah. So there we go. Now we're going to position each of these our elements into this card. So one risk, the last risk I'm going to take is it's a risk. I'm going to that's like the margin. I'm select all and I'm going to hit on auto layout. Yes, and it worked. It worked. So on selecting auto layout, everything becomes evenly distributed. Now, the reason why I'm sure this is going to be safe is because I've created enough room for each of the elements. Now, except for this guy though, so I take that back. But for every other element, I've created more than enough room. So I'm just going to leave that there. You get the idea. I'm sure you guys get the idea. So if this is going to stretch at all, it's just going to remain within this space I have created for it. And I'm pretty sure there is no status that goes longer than completed. So that we are within safe zone. So because that has happened, I would take this guy, the new one I've created. I'm going to take it. I'm going to set it to create a component out of it and create children of that component. I have 3 names there. And now I can test out a longer name. Okay, so come here, paste the name. And yes, it fits and nothing is destroying. I'm not, our design is not getting ruined. And if I put chattered here, still works. What else? If I change this date to first, 1st, still works. And of course, our action remain what it is. So yeah, basically that's how it's done. Now I can remove that layout grid and add the stroke to this design. I'm going to use F1 because F1 is very light, send it to the high, and I'm going to use 12 for this because I've been using 12 also. And basically, this is what I have. So I believe this works, and there you go. Now, one other thing you can do is separate your each of these by using a line, makes it look cleaner. I'm going to add a very straight line here. Of course, a line is meant to be straight. straight line here. Um, Duplicate that, select all three elements, and make sure, oh no, one is missing. Yeah. I'm going to select all the elements and make sure they are evenly spaced. What's going on? Make sure they are evenly spaced. And I'm going to set that to 16. Right. So I can stretch this also to 40. So I have a margin of 40 at the base. Reduce this by 4. I have 40 there. I'm going to select everything again. Maybe reduce the intensity of that line to something like A6. So it's obvious enough. Select everything, hit on auto layout, duplicate the line, send it down, and there you go. So yeah, basically this is how I create stuff. So someone is saying the spacing doesn't have to be of the same pixel. It does. It has. Oh, for are you talking about for this here? I don't know which one you're talking about, but if you're talking about for this transaction list, they are actually of the same space. The reason why it's of the same space is because currently I'm using auto layout to space them. Now, the space you provide for each one cannot be the same because you can't provide the same space you use for name. You can't use the same spacing for a date, right? So, but basically, all you need to do is make sure you have enough room for them to expand so that when your auto layout is working, it does not destroy the positions of your other elements. I hope that information is good enough for you. So Akoni is asking, why not separate the date and time? Do you know why? Because if I separate the date and time, I'm beginning to have too many information. So grouping your information is also very important. Grouping your information is very important. You don't want to separate date and time because they are actually the same thing, right? The date and time is helping you conceive the same information. So you don't want to separate it. Now, each of these information is independent of each other. This is your name. The bank has your account number, of course, because it's a group. This is a status, or this is the status. Status stands on its own. Date and time, of course, they are basically for the same kind of information. So one good reason why I won't be separating it, that. So we have this. This is our dashboard, right? And as I said, you don't need 5 years experience to be able to design something this good. You only need to have access to the right information. And I believe I've been able to share that information with you guys tonight. Now, do we have time for another one? No, we don't. I'm so sorry. I wish I could design another kind of dashboard for you guys, but in case I designed a heavier dashboard than this, the video is on my YouTube channel. So if you're interested in seeing what that looks like, that one has a lot more information than this. It has the graph, it has a couple of graphs, a few call to actions, a number of cards. So you want to check out that video. But we are currently out of time by 9 minutes, and I'm still going to answer your questions. So I'm sorry I won't be able to design a dashboard. But I'm pretty sure that if you're going to be designing your next dashboard, it's either going to be this good or it's going to look better. I am 100% sure now that you have all the information you have for designing dashboards. So I'm going to go through the very important things that I feel you should put in mind. Before you design a dashboard like this, you want to highlight every single information that you feel is important for that particular page. Don't get something you feel stuck. That is wrong. Make sure you have a list of items that should be on that dashboard. Now, do not information that are not going to be useful for the user. The dashboard basically is for quick action. The user wants to come on and do something very fast. So you want to make sure everything the user can see on the dashboard is making them take very, very quick decisions. So you don't want to have a graph is good, but graph is very good, but basically not for a user. A graph is good when you design where they are always concerned about metrics. You are a user. You don't need metrics for anything. Your money is all you need to do is send and receive money. You don't need metrics for anything. But a business that for a company, metrics is very important. They want to be able to know how much is entering per second. Now you can provide them with a graph. Dolapo is asking if I use wireframe. Of course I do, 100%. But for the purpose of this class, I don't need a wireframe. So basically that's it. Next up, you want to take your designs modularly. So in this class in the very beginning, I created each of these items one by one. The first thing I created was my navigation bar, the top navigation. Next thing I created was this navigation on the side. The next thing I did was to create this welcome information, then the card that shows my step-by-step process. You want to make sure you're doing stuff like that because it's going to help you. It's going to help you get creative on the long run. Now, free information. So I thought I was going to be able to share my icon pack yesterday, but I couldn't. So the name of the icon pack I'm using is View Sax. So let me just show you guys. So everything you find here, every icon or every item you find on this list is the icon I'm using at the moment. I know it's a lot. Many people will say you only need one icon pack. Zeno uses like 10 all at the same time. So I have icon sax, I have clever, I have freelance color, which of course you don't need. I have icon tail. I don't need an interaction map. I always have my iOS kit. I always have it because sometimes I need iOS ready designs like the iOS button, the emojis and stuff. So I'm always using it. Next time is for a team. I use icons as well at the same time. And yeah, lastly, I use Vogue. I use Vogue. So again, I'm going to say Vogue icon pack. You will find all this in Figma community. The Vogue icon pack, Oct icons, iOS 15 UI kit, icon tail, clever dashboard UI kit, and icon sax. So yeah, that's it. And one thing I can do here is search for more, or no, search for menu. So watch this, please. I search for menu. If I scroll down, because I use a wonderful icon pack, I have a lot of pre-designed UIs already. So just going to drag this guy, and I'm going to paste it right there. Yep. So that way I can edit my options to download, download, blah, blah, blah. Review. What else? You can't edit it, or why would you be able to edit it? Resend. Maybe resend should even come to the top. All right, I can't do that. So yeah, basically, if you're able to get your hands on a very good icon pack, it will save you a lot of necessary time to design. So this is another one, and I think all this is from the dashboard UI kit. Where is it? The dashboard UI kit. Yeah, clever dashboard UI kit. So that's free information for you. Free information for you. If you need it, that's free information for you. So yeah, ladies and gentlemen, we've come to the end of this class. I hope you learned something. Basically, everything we've done here is a summary of all we've been learning from the very first day, or how we've been learning the very first class. We've talked about colors, we've talked about spacing, we've talked about types, how to use your type. So I hope you guys really paid attention to how I'm choosing my fonts, my font sizes particularly. Many of you have seen a lot of designs where people are using 9 pixels for a text. That's impossible. Impossible. You shouldn't do that. I keep my font sizes, my body font size, or my body font sizes between 14 and 16 pixels. If I'm dealing with web, I dare not use anything less. 16 is the ideal. 14 is for small cases. Now, for chips that is where you can go smallest, and I use 12 pixels for that, because it's still large for some people, right? So as I said, these are not laws, but they are basically the things I do. If you think my designs are good enough and you want to design like me, this is all you need to know. This is all you need to know for basics. This is all you need to know. So I hope you found this class pretty educating. And yeah, lastly, if you are someone like me who doesn't like designing dashboards and probably does not even like designing the conventional UI UX design, you want to get into augmented and virtual reality design, which is the future. I have a class coming up October, and when I say you're going to learn a lot, you're going to learn a ton of a lot. You're going to learn a lot that is going to help you. You'll get proud of yourself. You'll be able to position yourself out there and get the most convenient jobs anyone could do, right? I'm a UI UX designer in the XR space. I basically design for virtual and augmented reality. I've worked on a couple of metaverses in the past. I had the privilege to work on a metaverse, a mini metaverse for Formula One. You can check that out. I think I have a link in one of my posts. Dolapo, if I tell you it is free, would you want to attend? You will not feel like slapping me. So yeah, it's not a free class. It's not a free class. It's definitely a paid class.